Hey guys, it's Colleen with the English Law Group. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about how the CARES Act affects withdrawals, loans, and minimum distributions from 401ks and those types of accounts. So when I say 401k, I mean retirement funds that are pre-taxed, that you put the money in without it having already been taxed. So a traditional IRA would also be one of those accounts. For purposes of this video, I'm just going to say 401k. So just quickly, for anybody that's over 70 and a half, typically you have to do a minimum distribution from accounts. In 2020, because of the CARES Act and the pandemic, they are waiving that requirement. So if you or your loved one is someone who is over 70 and a half years old and they do not want to take a minimum distribution, maybe they have enough money to live on and the market is low, they don't want to take things out when the market's so low, or they just don't want to have to pay the tax on that right now, they don't have to do that for 2020. So that is one of the things that the CARES Act has said. Also, for those who have been impacted negatively, who've adverse income, their income has been affected adversely because of the pandemic. Either you have to stay at home to watch your kids, you've been furloughed, you've been let go, your wages have decreased. As long as you can prove those things, which will be pretty easy to prove with pay stubs and your tax returns, you can either withdraw without penalty or take a loan on your 401k, and it's different than before. So typically, if you were going to withdraw from your 401k and you were younger than 59 and a half, you would have a 10% penalty, and you would also have to treat that as income for that tax year. So what they're saying now with the CARES Act is that the 10%, this is for withdrawals. So you're actually taking money out, you have no intention to repay it, you just need the money, and that's all there is to it. You're just gonna reduce your 401k by that amount. So what they're saying is for those, so if you withdraw that money, depending upon, the fact that you can say that you need it, you will not have to pay the 10% penalty, and you can stretch out that income over 3 years. So remember that the money that you put in there, that's pre-taxed. You've not already paid taxes on that income. So when you pull it out, it's income. You have to pay taxes on it. You can stretch that out over 20, 21, and 22. That's going to be beneficial so that if you have to take a larger amount out, you don't get put in a different tax bracket and pay a higher percentage for taxes. You really need to speak with a CPA to figure out the best way to do that for your tax situation and what's the best route to go. The other option would be to borrow against your 401k. And if you have the option of borrowing and you think it's safe for you to borrow, that might be a better idea, because in the long run, if you actually repay it, you're not hurting yourself as much. So if you take money out of your 401k and you withdraw it, you have no intention to repay it, what's $5,000 now, after 25 years of sitting in an IRA or a 401k, might end up being $20,000. So just remember, as that grows, that could really hurt you to take those things out, to take that money out. In addition, the stock market's low right now. The idea is you always want to buy low, sell high. If you take money out of your 401k as a withdrawal, you're taking money out of the market right now, and it's lower, so you don't get as much bang for your buck. Now, if you borrow against your 401k, you can actually repay that over 5 years without any interest or penalties. And that's kind of cool because you end up repaying yourself, and it's almost as if it never even happened. So that's a good idea. However, please note that if you are going to leave your job in the next 5 years, and it's going to take you 5 years to repay this amount, the year that you leave your job, you will have to repay the full amount that you borrowed by mid-October the following year. So let's say you take the money out now, you're let go in a month, and you would then, by October of next year, you would have to repay it, or you would have to pay penalties, and it would be like a withdrawal. It would be income. So, statistically, people just don't repay those loans if you change jobs. 86% of those loans don't get repaid if the person loses their job or changes jobs. So just keep that in mind. If you do have a lot of job security, you love your job, you're going to be there for a while, and you can do the loan with the option to repay it, that would probably be better, because in the long run, you never want to take away from a retirement fund. You just don't want to mess with your retirement. You're going to end up paying for it later. And the cost is going to be a lot higher now because you're not giving the stock market an opportunity to rebound, and you're not allowing that money to just sit there and grow. So please, this should be a last resort. If you're going to lose your house, or you can't make your rent payments, for whatever reason, maybe you don't qualify for unemployment, or who knows. If your other option would just be to rack up a bunch of credit card debt, that's not a really good option either, because the interest rates on credit cards are so high. So there are instances where borrowing against your 401k or taking an early distribution might be a viable option. It might be a good idea, but you really want to talk to your financial advisor. You want to talk to your CPA, and you want to understand that there are lasting effects for doing this. It's much better than doing it last year, 2020. If you're going to be taking from your 401k, this is the year to do it. But again, every situation's different, and we just want you making the soundest decisions and not just pulling the trigger on something without fully thinking out the full ramifications of it. So we hope you stay well, you stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.